The market of self-help books for women is huge, but if you ask me, most of them are rubbish. There are so many books out there particularly targeted at women that give oversimplified or even useless advice. Those are the books that I want you to avoid at all costs, so in this video I'm gonna give you the 5 self-help books for women that are actually worth your time. Let's get started. And the very first one is The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. I mentioned Gretchen before on this channel when I talked about the best podcasts available, and you can find that video right up here, but originally her fame stems from her book The Happiness Project. And in this book, Gretchen Rubin describes how she spent an entire year of her life trying to become more happy. For that, she utilized a lot of tips and tricks, tried out different things, and all of that is broken down in this book. But what I like particularly about it is that it's not pop science, rah-rah stuff, but actually based on hard scientific facts. Because a lot of these tips and tricks come from a field called positive psychology, which is the scientific approach to figuring out what makes us happy. So unlike a lot of self-help books out there, Gretchen Rubin's book is not simply her opinion, but based on proven scientific facts. If that sounds good to you and you also want to learn how you could become happier in your life, then definitely make sure to check out Gretchen Rubin's Happiness Project. The second book on our list is Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. The Power of Now, of course, is a self-help book classic that everybody should read, but particularly for women, I believe there's a lot of value in there. Eckhart Tolle does an excellent job describing what it means to become present to the moment and the bliss that that brings to his life. I think more than ever in our modern world, people tend to either live in the future or in the past, but have a really hard time enjoying what is happening right here and right now. And of course, being in the present is something that is easier said than done, right? It's probably a tip that you have already gotten in the past, but what Eckhart Tolle does so excellently in this book is giving concrete examples how you can implement certain exercises into your life that allows you to become more grounded and be in the now. And even though there are some parts in this book that for me personally are a little bit too spiritual, this is entirely up to you to decide. Just like with any other book, it's entirely up to you what you decide is valuable to you and your situation, and all the other things you can simply disregard. But if you feel like maybe you're the worrying kind and you think a lot about the future, or maybe you have some demons that hunt you from the past and that you would like to learn how to leave behind, then definitely check out The Power of Now, because this is the book that most likely will get you there. Alright, we are moving quickly through this list. Book number 3 on it is Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And I think from the title alone you can already see that this is not your typical self-help book. Instead, this is a book that is full of great life advice without hitting you over the head with it. Before publishing this worldwide bestseller, Mark Manson was already a famous blogger. So he already had a wide audience, many of which are women, and had years of experience of writing about his life and giving tips to others. And what I particularly like about this book is that it's not preachy, it's not condescending, and it's not giving you the impression that he thinks he's superior to you in any way. In fact, a lot of the stories in his book are describing tough times that he went through, times where he didn't succeed, times where he was struggling and had to overcome obstacles, so that you can go ahead and learn from his experience without having to go through as tough times as he did. On top of that, the book is just written in an enjoyable way, it's a fast read, and it's quite different from the esoteric approach of The Power of Now or the very scientific approach of some other books that I'm gonna discuss later in this video. I think if you are looking for a book that will give you no bullshit life advice, then The Subtle Art is a very good place to start. The next book on our list is actually not one single book but a collection of books. It's all books from Brene Brown. Brene Brown is a scientific researcher that got famous for her work in the field of courage. She gave a TED Talk 10 years ago that is still wildly popular and by now has more than 15 million views. And on top of that, she has written several books by now, for example this one, or this one, or this one, which you might recognize. And really all of them are worth reading, so that's why I decided in the end to offer just all of them to you instead of picking one. They also tend to sort of go into the same direction in terms of topic, which is understandable because it's just the field of expertise of Brene Brown. It's topics like vulnerability, empathy, courage and leadership. And again, what I mostly enjoy about them is that they're all based on scientific facts and research. It's not that Brene Brown one day decided to sit down and write a book about how she thinks the world should be, but instead she writes about how it actually is, based on the research and the years of experimentation that she has done in that field. She is an actual expert on topics like courage and vulnerability, which makes me more inclined to listen to her over some self-proclaimed self-help gurus. And if you feel the same way, then I encourage you to check out any of her books, or maybe go to Netflix and check out her Netflix special that she has up there. Because on top of being a great writer, she's also a fantastic public speaker who really knows how to utilize storytelling to her advantage. And last but not least, on our list of the best self-help books for women, we have book number 5, which is by Martin Seligman and is called Flourish. Flourish is yet another book written by a scientist, so you might pick up a little bit of a pattern here, and it is a book that attempts to cover positive psychology in its entirety. And yes, of course, this topic is a little bit of my personal preference. It might not be yours, but I find it super fascinating that there is an actual science behind happiness and well-being. So the fact that there are proven techniques that we can utilize in our everyday life to be happier and feel more fulfilled is just amazing to me. And I feel like it's a knowledge that many people don't have and that I wish more people possess. Martin Seligman, in fact, is something like the founding father of positive psychology. He has developed and advanced a lot of the concepts that nowadays are taken for granted in the scientific field. Some of which are more applicable to a bigger organization, like for example at work, but a lot of them are also for your personal everyday life. According to Seligman and his framework, which he breaks down in this book, there are a couple of different components in your life that you sort of need to take care in order to maximize your well-being. And to be fair, none of them are entirely revolutionary per se. It's things like exercising, living healthy, making sure you have an active social life, making sure that you have a family around you. But the cool thing about Seligman is that he has a very scientific approach to all of these areas, which is kind of unique in the field of self-help. I don't really want to give away too much here. I recommend that you get the book yourself and read it. But generally, I have to say, if there is a guy out there who knows how to maximize happiness and well-being over the course of your lifetime, wouldn't you want to know what he has to say? If you do, then go and buy his book Flourish. And if you want to get more videos about personal development and also happiness in the future, then make sure to subscribe to my channel for more updates. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time.